friend refused to repay my loan, so I made her pay the IRS instead. My ex-best friend absolutely refused to pay back money she legitimately owed me despite having the means to do so, so I made certain she'd have to explain the situation to the IRS instead of me. We'd been genuinely inseparable for 12 years before everything fell apart, through devastating breakups, family deaths, major career changes, cross-country moves, and everything difficult in between. She was the sister I actively chose when biology hadn't provided one. My person. My emergency contact. At least that's what I sincerely believed our friendship meant. When I finally escaped an abusive relationship and had absolutely nowhere safe to go, she immediately offered me her spare bedroom. Said I could stay as long as I needed to heal and rebuild my shattered life. That kindness meant everything to me during the darkest period I'd ever experienced. I started slowly believing maybe my life wasn't actually over, just painfully redirected towards something better. Then her company transferred her across the state on very short notice. The relocation package they offered was pathetically inadequate. Her current lease had expensive early termination penalties, and she was already financially stretched thin from months of reduced hours during the pandemic. She broke down crying one night and admitted she might have to refuse the transfer entirely, damaging her career trajectory. I just finally received my unemployment back pay after months of bureaucratic delays. It wasn't a fortune, but it was something meaningful. I offered to help cover her moving costs and deposits. She refused initially, said she couldn't possibly take money from me when I was barely financially stable myself. I insisted firmly. That's what family does for each other. That's what she'd done for me. We formally agreed she'd repay me in manageable installments once she was settled and receiving full paychecks again. I actually wrote the terms down clearly, specific dates and amounts, because my therapist was teaching me to protect myself better and document important agreements. She signed the paper while laughing affectionately, calling me adorably official about everything. I didn't know I'd desperately need that documentation later. The first few months after her move, small payments came through sporadically. Then the excuses started multiplying. Unexpected car repairs, medical bills from an emergency room visit. Her deadbeat ex still owed her money that was coming any day now. Each time she asked for patience, I believed her. Each time I extended grace, I genuinely couldn't afford to give. Meanwhile, I was struggling significantly. The new city she'd relocated to had almost no opportunities in my field. I ended up working part-time under her supervision at her company just to afford my share of rent. She knew exactly what I earned because she literally approved my weekly hours and signed my timesheets. Around month 6, I carefully asked about establishing a realistic repayment timeline. She immediately got defensive and hostile, said I was pressuring her unfairly when she was doing her best under difficult circumstances. I actually apologized to her. In hindsight, apologizing for wanting my own money back was absolutely ridiculous, but I was so afraid of damaging our friendship. Then she casually announced she was relocating again, back to our original city for an even better opportunity. Great news for her career. Devastating news for me, because she mentioned almost as an afterthought that she'd found herself a one-bedroom condo. No room for me. I had 30 days to figure out my entire living situation independently. I ended up couch surfing desperately for nearly a year. Different friends' apartments, different states, no stability anywhere, no permanent address. Depression so heavy some days I couldn't physically make myself leave whatever borrowed bed I was occupying. She'd text occasionally, surface-level check-ins that never acknowledged the money she still owed, or the chaos her sudden departure had created in my life. When I finally achieved enough stability to think clearly and strategically, I sent a formal written request for repayment, then another a month later, and a certified letter with return receipt. Each communication was either completely ignored or deflected with vague excuses about timing and circumstances. I consulted an attorney about small claims court options. He reviewed my documentation and confirmed I had an extremely solid case with the signed agreement. However, pursuing it across state lines would likely cost more in time, fees, and emotional energy than I'd actually recover even if I won. Then he mentioned something I hadn't previously considered. If a debt is formally forgiven or becomes demonstrably uncollectible, the IRS considers that amount taxable income for the debtor. I could legally issue a 1099-C form documenting cancellation of the debt. She'd be required to report my loan as income on her taxes. It felt petty initially, like revenge rather than justice. But then I remembered sleeping in my car because she couldn't provide 30 days notice before abandoning me. Remembered believing her endless excuses while she posted vacation photos across social media. Remembered every time I minimized my own legitimate needs because I thought friendship was supposed to mean unconditional patience. I filed the paperwork correctly with all required documentation, kept meticulous copies of everything. The original signed agreement, records of every partial payment she'd made, every unanswered written request for repayment. If the IRS investigates, I have comprehensive answers. She found out when she filed her taxes and the numbers didn't match. Suddenly she was texting furiously, calling me vindictive and cruel, saying I ruined her financially. I responded once. I was your best friend when I gave you money I couldn't spare. You stopped being mine when you made me homeless and didn't care. Then I blocked her everywhere. The money's gone, but so is she.